My name is Rene, Gracia, and with RGD+B, we're a design build group. So it started, I guess, a few years back. I had a friend ask me, he said, hey, could you design a house for a friend of mine? And I was like, well, it's okay, but we really don't do residential kind of stuff. That's not been my experience. And after working on it, I just fell in love with the whole process. So one of our main focuses is understanding modern architecture, but also really engaging the exterior landscape and the natural surroundings so that it starts to engage the home really closely. So there's a fine line between the two, but also understanding the client really well. So understanding how their life, their ins and outs of their everyday life, and understanding how can we bring more mindfulness to the projects. My wife and I were in a transformational phase of our lives, kind of looking at everything in retrospect in your life and how, the priorities you put in life. And with that came the home. So we looked at finding a piece of property, which we found this piece of property, which was a pet hoarder's home. So it was in really bad shape. You'd walk in and it was just in disarray. So we thought this could be the dream home. Yeah. So we started this whole process of understanding how the site works, lines of sight, how the light starts to engage the home, and began the design process with that. It was the home sits 35 feet above the street level. It has a sense of serenity within the neighborhood. You're sitting there in the front room, which is a little jewel box, kind of perched out, and you can see the trees all around you, but you don't see any other homes. The topography was something that, a lot of people may look at it as a challenge. Well, you're building it on a hill and having to deal with a variety of different levels. For me, that was not necessarily a challenge, it was kind of a blessing to be able to work on a project such as this with the topography changes. So the concept behind this was kind of a sense of grounding. So as you walk up to the house, there's a water feature which has the glass room that floats above the water, and it has a reflective pool underneath, which you start to hear sounds, and the variety of different senses start to engage you as an individual as you start to experience the architecture. And so as soon as you walk in, that room, which is more of a formal piece, is a room that we use quite frequently. The kids do a lot of their homework there. It's in the evening time, the way the water engages the space throughout the day, you hear the water trickling, but you also see the flickering of the lights on the ceiling in the evening time, and the way the glass is oriented around the house. That same water feature is kind of echoed throughout through reflections. The term wabi-sabi is a big thing that I like to focus a lot of the architecture over. And it's the kind of the celebrating or engaging of the materials more of in a natural way. So many things have the aging process. We have an aging process associated with us. The wrinkles in our face start to tell a story about our life, and materials do the same. So a lot of the materials that we use are steel, wood, natural materials that we can start to tell a story, and they can start to patina, they can start to age. So it's an interesting transformation from the home the way it is now, from when it was first constructed, and you start to see the aging of materials. I think the fact that this was an old home that had its issues, and now being able to transform it is kind of metaphorically symbolic of kind of my wife and I's journey over the past few years, which I think is something that we didn't expect to find, but it's been an interesting approach.